जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदनंदन भजजनरंजन जमुना तीरावनचारी। जमुना तीरावनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। जय प्रभुपादा प्रभुपादा प्रभुपादा। जय प्रभुपादा। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सतश्री श्रीमद् चरणारविंद भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर सतश्री श्रीमद् भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रीलरदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपिनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरी गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय। मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। श्रीमती तुलसी महारानी की जय। समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामी नामने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण प्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी नामने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुलं लङ्घयति गिरिमत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुदेवतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्येश्वरम्। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च शिवं शाक्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सकलिता शिवशाखान्वितांश्च। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकास स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranams to all devotees. Welcome to the 14th session. 14 sessions are over. 14th session of online reading of Patropadesa Volume 1. So we are reading in 2004. Actually, the book is till 2010. Still more 6 years is there. So, Krishna willing, we will continue to read. So we'll continue to read from 2004 year, 9 January 2004. I hope everybody is able to hear me properly. Yes. And one more thing, just I wanted to ask from devotees that I have uploaded these videos, or what I can say, these readings in the form of videos in YouTube channel. So please do follow them and share to those devotees who are unable to attend these sessions, and they can make use of those YouTube videos. Everything is there in that. Ramayana is there, speaking strongly, glimpses, message, then Rasikananda, all books are there. Whatever book they want, they can read. Of course, we are going to start Patropadesa Volume 2, then Message to Dut of India, so like that. Okay, we will continue to read. 9 January 2004. Thank you for your offering and letter. You have raised an important question. Is it enough simply to go on with service and neglect our inner feelings and problems? The answer could be both yes and no. If we are happy in our service, then why be concerned about our minds? Better just forget it and concentrate on serving Krishna. On the other hand, serious anarthas, if not dealt with, can in course of time strangle our devotional advancement. So on the whole, sorry, I recommend that you go on with your service of book distribution, but also be introspective and work on identifying and overcoming anarthas. There is one lecture of Maharaj by name Overcoming Anarthas. Very nice lecture. This does not mean becoming mental and rather thoughtful. 12 January 2004. Medical science advises that if malignant tumor is in advanced stage, it should be excised as soon as possible. Otherwise, it causes the patient's death. I am seriously thinking of divorce. The analogy here is inappropriate as divorce is not sanctioned by Shastra. You yourself told me just a few days ago that she was improving. Your sudden and extreme change of position suggests that your own perspective is not very stable. Please be patient and don't do anything adharmic. 7th February 2004. Thank you for your letter and the welcome news of your continued positive engagement in Krishna conscious activities. You asked what to do about your habit of reading non-Krishna conscious books. My answer is stop it. If you know that it is impeding your advancement, then why do so? Better that you set yourself a goal to read all of Srila Prabhupada's books by a certain date. Then you won't have time for other books. Just one more thing, just I wanted to tell devotees, just reminded of one thing which Maharaj, or this is there in the Vedic culture also, that a disciple should not read any book which is unknown to the spiritual master. That means disciple should not read anything that okay, oh, my spiritual master doesn't know I am reading this book, so that should not happen in one's life. So whatever spiritual, if at all he wants to read any other book, any shastra, even to read any other shastra also, scripture also, he has to take permission from the spiritual master to read any book for that matter. What to speak of reading karmi books, like here non-Krishna conscious books are there. So even if one wants to read any other book apart from whatever is told by told by spiritual master, then he has to ask permission, humbly go and ask permission that I want to read the shastra. So please give me permission. Is it okay that I can read? If Guru gives permission, then only he can read. Otherwise, he can't read. In the Vedic culture, whatever Guru Mukho Padma Bhakyo Chittete Koriya Aikyo, whatever comes from the mouth of the spiritual master, that only he accepts. He doesn't read more or anything like that. Nowadays, because of preaching, we think that we want to read some psychological books, Ayurvedic books, some books. I don't know what people devotees are reading. Otherwise, how they are getting thoughts of doing such, I don't know. I don't want to say on the live, but the point is that if one reads Srila Prabhupada, there is an article, there is in Lekhamala, there is the first article written by Maharaj is reading guide for my disciples. So we request all the devotees to please read that. If you have that book, Lekhamala, and in that first article is reading guide for my disciples. So that's very, very important. All the devotees should read that, and then maybe if it is possible, you can take a printout or scan it, or what I can say, you can take xerox of the 2 4 pages and keep it every time you can read that. That's very, very important actually. And whenever somebody devotee asks what this book should read, that book we should read or not, we can guide them by reading from that. Mm. Ah. Okay, continuing to read. Generally, samskaras are performed by grihasthas, but in today's unusual world, we see brahmacharis and sannyasis doing so also. Considering the lack of devotees in Yal knowledgeable about samskaras, it will be a good service if you can do so. You may perform any sanskaras as long as you don't feel disturbed in doing so. 7th February 2004. Thank you for writing to me at last. It was certainly unusual that you left India without consulting or even informing me, and I took this as an indication that you are not in clear consciousness. I am glad that you are still chanting 16 rounds and wish to continue in spiritual life. And I can understand that you wish to marry. That is almost inevitable, as you have never been steady as a brahmachari, never staying long anywhere, always moving here and there. So, for you to take the responsibility of family life might help you to become steady. However, I cannot at all approve of your marrying this particular lady. To do so would be a very bad move on your part. Please consider that I am preaching a high standard of moral responsibility, and that if you, as my disciple, indulge in such whimsical affairs, then it will make me an object of scorn, and much undermine my attempts to lift devotees up to a better standard. This is very, very important. Furthermore, your proposed alliance is unlikely to last long. You are proposing to protect her, but you cannot even protect yourself. You cannot provide for her at the standard she is used to. You are entering into a hellish situation. But being blinded by infatuation, you are unlikely to accept my guidance. Then I will become your pet dog guru. Oh, Krishna. You will consider that you know better than me, but will keep my picture as a sign of affection for the unfortunate soul who you call your guru. But if you actually wish to live by the principle of Jivadaya, then please begin by being merciful to this Jiva, myself. If you are my disciple, then you should obey my instruction, which is get out of the situation immediately and never speak to that woman again. Get married, but do so to a never married woman, and in a gentlemanly manner, not like this. Oh, Krishna. One second. Uh, oh, Krishna. 12th March 2004. Thank you for the news about the soul who is trying to avoid being Jidas. Better read Srila Prabhupada's books than get caught up with smelly fish in the net. Chant Hare Krishna loudly and associate with devotees who will help you to remain pure. 26th March 2004. My best regards to you and thank you for your letter. Let's hope you can go to the Bhakta program before too long. It's true that in ISKCON, as probably in any other religious institution, there are various discrepancies toward which many of us might turn a blue eye in the hope that things will improve by God's grace. Of course, if things get too much out of hand, it might be incumbent on us to speak out. However, in your present stage of Krishna consciousness, it's probably by far best that you concentrate on the essentials of hearing and chanting about Krishna, avoiding controversy, which could damage your faith in the very essence of bhakti. I have a question. Where is the border between if somebody recommended something and I'm not able to do it, and offense that I don't do it? This is too general a query to give a specific reply to. On the whole, it is understood that offense occurs when there is malintent. So, if that is not present, you are probably not making an offense. Considering your age and situation, I would not advise you to remarry. Just remembered something important. There is a general variation. It is written whether it's regarding offense. On the whole, it is understood the offense occurs when it is malignant. What is the meaning of malignant? Can anybody say? What is the meaning of malignant? Can anybody tell me malignant? Otherwise, I will have to search in Google Guru. Google Guruji. Malignant. Malintent. Mad intention or bad intention, I think. I don't know. Malintent. Anybody has any idea or can, can tell me? Oh, Krishna, where is that? Dushpravartana. Okay, Dushpravartana. Malintent. Durbhavana Purna. Having a bad intention on purpose. Yes. So the point is, so many devotees were asking, there was some seminar went on for some days. So devotees were telling, so it is an offense, Prabhuji, you can't say like that, you can't put it openly like that. So we don't have any mad intention or a dushprachar, dushbhavana, bad intention on purpose. We don't have that purpose that you have to, that devotee or whoever is doing should become like that. So that is the, this is the point. Point is that unless and until we have that bad intention, there is no problem in telling according to Guru Sadhu Shastra. So that is the point. Anyhow, thank you, devotees. Did he want to marry? Okay, we will answer it afterwards. Considering considering your age and situation, I would not advise you to remarry. 8th April 2004. Naturally, I am very concerned with your difficulties. As Prabhu is helping in your spiritual progress, I would like to get his feedback on what advice to give you. He and I shouldn't give a conflicting advice. So, I will get back to you after conferring with him. Certainly, this Ritvikism isn't good. Please go to Sri Krishna Mat and pray daily to Lord Krishna there. And also, if you get the opportunity, you may have the saintly darshan of Sri Swami. Another thing you should do is to serve R and P Prabhus in whatever way you may. It was wrong that you criticized them, and your spiritual difficulties are no doubt aggravated by that. So try to rectify that fault by serving them. Jump and dance in Kirtan, that will help you immensely. Also, be sure to read Srila Prabhupada's books daily. This will help to keep everything in clear perspective. 13th April 2004. I would like to I would request some other devotees to read. Okay, Shubhankar ji, can you please continue to read from where I stopped? 13th April 2004.
13th April 2004. Thank you for contacting me in your difficulty. This, despite your profession of lack of faith in me, indicates that you think I could help you and that you sincerely want help. This is not the ISKCON I wanted, John. I am not losing faith in Prabhupada or his books, but it is very, very difficult for me to continue now with the present day ISKCON. I could have written the same myself, but I certainly can't seriously contemplate going back to Karmi life. Whatever ISKCON's present difficulties may be, we have to take advantage of the great gifts Srila Prabhupada gave us and try to propagate his mission as best as we can, hoping for better days. By no means is all lost. Please consider that there are many sober, intelligent devotees who are as or more aware of ISKCON's problems, yet who, nevertheless, go on serving the mission. If they can, why not you? What, what is your service to Srila Prabhupada's mission? Quite likely, your problems are at best as much mental or emotional rather than on principle or philosophy. You probably need to make some real friends in Krishna consciousness. Philosophy is not in itself enough. You could and should have a few heart-to-heart talks with a devotee there who you respect and trust. Maybe S, C, N, or Y. I can try to administer you by email, but as your problems are deep-rooted, an email exchange is unlikely to help much. Maybe you could come and see me. I am in Puri now. Why not take a break and bring your family here for a few days? You suggest that I am neglecting you, but please consider I have almost 400 disciples plus writing plus writing service, and that you have had considerably more direct attention from me than most of my disciples, and far more than the most devotees in ISKCON get from their gurus. Here's something interesting about faith, which, although not directly applicable to you, could be partially so. Strange as may seem that anomaly called liberal Catholicism, its reason is not far to seek. It takes its root in a false conception of the nature of the act of faith. The liberal Catholic assumes that the formal motive of the act of faith, not the infallible authority of God revealing supernatural truth, but his own reason deigning to accept as true what appears rational to him, according to the appreciation and measure of his own individual judgment. He subjects God's authority to the scrutiny of his reason, and not his reason to God's authority. He accepts revelation not on account of the infallible revealer, but because of the infallible receiver. With him, the individual judgment is the rule of faith. He believes in the independence of reason. From a website. How is your sadhana? If your sadhana is weak, then your Krishna consciousness cannot be strong. 18th April 2004. Thank you. Thank you to both of you for kindly helping with the production, storage, and distribution of my books. It is very great help for me and leaves me freer for other services. It has to be a labor of love, as there is nothing very attractive or interesting in this service. So, from this, I can understand your love for me. By assisting me in this, my major service in Srila Prabhupada's mission. 24th May 2004. Thank you for communicating your decision to me, and thank you for the services you performed as a brahmachari in the ashram. I trust that you learned many things that will be useful in your onward march back to Godhead. Do not think that you have failed. Take it that your brahmachari life was a training period. Please continue to associate with the devotees in D and go on chanting your prescribed rounds and studying Srila Prabhupada's books. If possible, please visit me at Lord Jagannath's Rath Yatra in Baroda on June 19th. What did you do with the books I had given you for safekeeping? Please convey my regards to the devotees there. 2nd June 2004. Don't worry too much, as mistakes made in ignorance are not very blameful. I am much disturbed at the manner in which deities are bought, sold, given away, worshipped, ceased to be worshipped, and so on. That is common nowadays, as if they were toy dolls or something like a bar of soap to be passed around. But you should have considered that any important decision affecting your spiritual life should be first submitted to your guru. A guru is not meant just to be kept in a photo for a waving incense at.
Yes, this is the point. We can take a note of it. Okay.
Better that you return the deities to those who gave them, and tell those persons that you made a mistake in accepting them so readily. Deity worship can only be accepted under certain conditions, such as being Brahmana, initiated, and in a position to undertake such worship uninterruptedly throughout life. The main worship of Gaur Nitai is by chanting. Continue with that. 15th June 2004. Dandavat. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, without whose profound humility, infinite compassion, and patience, authoritative teachings, personal qualities, and unbelievably arduous sacrifices, and simply pure love, this world would have been lost long ago. As a Grihastha devotee in Denmark, G once told me that H had told him regarding family problems. There are no easy solutions to such difficult problems. But as you mentioned, you have many times talked it out with your wife, and it seems like it's time for a long talk. I suggest that you center the talk on what you can both do best for your child. Definitely, the hormonal change can make women very irrational. I have heard quite a few tales about that. Another suggestion: sit together daily as a family, have a little kirtana, and read from Krishna book or a child's version of it. I am more and more seeing how traditional cultures in which women are both strictly controlled and highly respected were best. In the absence of such an ethos, women have freedom to indulge their minds, which simply causes chaos and misery for themselves and others. Please keep in touch with me about this. I am ready to help in whatever way I can to help avert disaster. But as you know, once someone's mind goes completely out of control, then they become like ghosts and cannot listen even to those they love and respect. wrote to me from your wife's email address that she wants to work for your wife, I suppose to help with housework and childcare, and thus earn some Lakshmi to clear debts. I gave my approval, but I wonder if it will affect the situation, especially if Bhaktin goes to you for advice and guidance. What do you think? One point is that simply moving close to a temple may have a wonderful effect for you all, so it might be worth waiting to see if that happens. 7th July 2004. Had I been in a man's body, I would have served you somewhere. But my biggest disappointment in my life is that I am situated in a yeoman's body, which
Everywhere, everywhere. I would have
oh,
served you
had I
everywhere.
had I been in a man's body, I would have served you everywhere. But my biggest disappointment in life is that I am situated in a woman's body, which brings along so many shortcomings in my spiritual life. But I know they are my karmas. Although a woman's body necessitates different duties and facilitates than those of men, it is not an impediment in Krishna consciousness. Particularly at the present time, it is much required that women in Krishna consciousness.
Oh, Krishna. Oh, Krishna. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Ah, this.
Yes, Prabhu, this is.
One second. One second. One second. Oh,
Particularly at the present time, it is much required that women in Krishna consciousness set an ideal example of combining traditional Sri Dharma with the transcendental practices of devotional service. If you can do so, it will be the most conducive for your own spiritual advancement and will be first class preaching by practical example. 9th July 2004. I thought some more about your proposal to divorce. I feel that whatever the reason for doing so, it will not look good and will add to the ongoing culture of family instability that plagues ISKCON. The more devotees, the, the more devotees that divorce, the more others will think it normal and acceptable to do so, especially if leaders divorce and remain in their positions. I hence feel that if you do so, it would be better if you resign all official positions in ISKCON. By doing so, you would make it clear that you yourself understand that divorce is not very honorable and not suitable for spiritual leaders of society. It would be another matter if the divorce went through after your wife had instigated proceedings against you and you had fought against it on the grounds that it is against Shastra. This is my seemingly harsh outlook, based on the principle that unless and until ISKCON members and especially leaders set ideal examples, there will be no hope of progressing towards Srila Prabhupada's theme of ISKCON, showing the right path to the misdirected civilization. 10th July 2004. It is certainly, if you a well-known, if you a well-known If you, a well-known spokesman for Dharma, institute divorce proceedings, it will be a major setback for those attempting to establish Dharma within ISKCON. Otherwise, others will criticize that we don't live according to our ideals, that even those who preach such high ideals, high standards, can stick to them, and that hence we should just be realistic and not attempt to follow a culture that we are not fit for, etc. 19th July 2004. It is certainly a laudable desire to have a son who possesses all good qualities like Srila Prabhupada in serving Krishna and Srimati Radharani with great determination throughout his whole life. Yet, considering the rarity of such exalted devotees, it is unlikely that such a great personality would appear in your family unless you elevate yourself to a similarly high standard of consciousness. Srila Prabhupada said, "If you want to know me, read my books. This is a more important sadhana for you than performing austerities and feeding cows. If you want to have a pure devotee in your home, then you must be prepared to train him in Bhagavad philosophy." Bhagavat philosophy. To date, you have not made an intensive study of Srila Prabhupada's books. You have neglected to take advantage of the teachings of the great Vaishnava acharyas, and thus your understanding of Krishna consciousness is almost certainly both lacking in depth and mixed with misconceptions. As such, it is unlikely that an Acharya Purusha will agree to appear as your son. You have asked me to chant an extra round of japa daily during Purushottama Masa to help fulfill your desire. As it happens, I was not able to attend to your letter until after the start of this month. And anyway, I try to chant all my rounds in a mood of service to Srila Prabhupada and Krishna, which service includes my endeavors to act for the benefit of those I have accepted as disciples in their service. So whatever is required for my disciples' benefit is already included in my regular chanting. Please study Srila Prabhupada's books regularly and deeply. That will be beneficial for you and for all other jivas who come in contact with you. 2nd August 2004. What you have what you have described in horrible violence is horrible violence against the jiva who you had caused to take shelter in the womb of your then girlfriend and now wife. In the present social ethos of India, this act is considered a commendable method of population control, but according to Shastra, it is highly sinful. Of course, genuine devotional service removes all sins, but to have knowingly done this and after coming to Krishna consciousness compounds the offense. However, it is good that you have informed me of this, for in Krishna consciousness there is always hope for a better future, however bad the past might have been. Mm. A devotee who has sinned need not perform prayaschitta, atonement, for devotional service itself removes all sins. However, after sinning, one's service must be fully sincere. Otherwise, the effect of sinful activities will remain. I suggest that both yourself and your wife immediately take up chanting minimum 16 rounds of the Mahamantra daily and petition Krishna to give a better opportunity to the jiva that you so cruelly sent away. You should utilize a significant portion of your income, at least 1000 rupees per month, for, for promoting Krishna consciousness. Best is that you donate to the Shastradhan program. After doing this for 2 years, please ask me again about shelter. In the meantime, you are welcome to come and see me, attend lectures and other programs at the temple, etc.
Okay, Prabhuji, thank you very much.
Thank you, bro. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, Hare Krishna. Thank you. So Maharaj is advising everybody to give a significant portion of their income, at least some Lakshmi per month, for promoting Krishna consciousness, and best is to donate to the book distribution program. So some devotees are already doing book distribution, so they can give. हरे कृष्णा यहाँ पे रख दो अंदर रख दो ठीक है ठीक है ओके so they can give for book distribution program Shastradhan program. It's a very great service. I would like to request Vivek to read.
Second
2nd August
August
2004.
2004. Thank you for meeting me at the ISKCON festival. It certainly was a wonderful event with so many Vaishnavas chanting and dancing together. I appreciate that you are a very sincere devotee and may be frustrated by certain attitudes of some others. Nevertheless, I request you to continue your activities in Krishna consciousness without too much concern about the deficiencies of others. Especially in the beginning stages of our devotional lives, it is best to concentrate on our own improvement than to become critical of others. Your proposed life's activities in Bhakti Yoga, based on the holy name, peaceful atmosphere, plain living, high thinking, brahmanas, cows, and care for women, are all certainly commendable, and I wish you all the best in your chosen way of life. 6th August 2004. Thank you for your letter and the well intentioned advice proffered therein. I had at one point declined to speak to X, but that was put behind. My last exchange with him was a morning congenially spent together visiting temples. But unpredictable as ever, he has again flared up. Similarly, you faithfully accept X version that I insulted his mother and thus advised me to apologize to her. It seems unfair that you listened to him for hours but didn't care to get my version before advising me based on his word only. You may be surprised to know that I am not fanatically against marriage. Quoting from a letter to a disciple, certainly my best wishes are there for your happy and ideal Grihastha life in Krishna consciousness. Yes, Prabhu is pressing me to order why to marry. However, I never pressurize disciples into accepting any ashram against their will. I might advise someone to marry if I consider it is for their ultimate benefit. But in the case of Y and X, I suspect that X wants Y married because he wants to control Y and his income, and that Y's aversion to marriage is largely because he realizes this. He wants to escape X control, wouldn't you? X wants to impose it, and thus, even if Y were pressurized into marriage, it's likely that X would continue to pressurize devotees into making Y fully surrender to him, which is never likely to happen. In short, I doubt that apart from a temporary respite, the X syndrome would be solved by pressurizing Y into marriage, and that thus another approach should be sought to tackle this issue. I could write more about this, but I don't wish to tax you further as you are suffering from stress. Also, I am pressed for time, and anyway, you have withdrawn from this affair. Please carefully look after your health and please continue to consider me favorably. But also, please don't judge me based solely on others' assessments. Thank you for your time and trouble. 6th August 2004. Certainly, my best wishes are there for your happy and ideal Grihastha life in Krishna consciousness. I suggest that you ask Prabhu or any other sober senior Grihastha devotee to give you detailed guidelines on Grihastha life and to act as your ongoing mentor to help you advance in Krishna consciousness within that ashram. 6th August 2004. Congratulations on your appointment as the temple president of ISKCON. Your immediate engagement is to build a glorious temple for Sri Sri Gaur Nitai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna, and Sri Sri Jagannath Subhadra Baldeva. May Krishna and Srila Prabhupada give you the necessary strength, intelligence, and resources to do so. Please also remember that even more important and difficult than building temples is to build people in Krishna consciousness, and that your real success will be measured not in bricks and mortar, but in souls offered at the feet of the Lord. 25th August 2004. I suggest that you analyze not only ancient Lithuanian culture as deduced from fairy tales, but also more recent culture, for even a few years ago, family values, etc., were much stronger and closer to Vedic ideal.
Lithuanian.
Lithuanian culture. Yes.
Lithuanian. Okay.
Reading mundane academic books is certainly potentially contaminating. I hence am very concerned that you get solid training in Vaishnava Siddhanta before going more deeply into mundane academic ethos. So many devotees have compromised their Krishna consciousness and even become offensive to Guru Sadhu Shastra due to taking these learned fools too seriously. Please bear in mind that more important than pursuing university education is becoming strong in Krishna consciousness, and that the whole attempt to present Krishna consciousness through the secular academic system will become undone if the aspiring preacher is not himself solidly fixed in Krishna consciousness. One who goes into the lion's den has to powerful enough to defeat the lions.
has to be
Otherwise, has
has
to
to
be yeah,
uh,
has to be powerful enough to defeat the lions.
please read slowly, carefully, and
Okay, sorry.
uh, uh,
One who goes into the lion's den has to be powerful enough to defeat the lions, otherwise, he will become their victim. You should at least theoretically have faith that whatever Guru, Sadhu, Shastra teach most must be correct, even if you cannot understand it, and that you may be able to understand it by submissively inquiring from and serving sadhus. As stated in The Real Nature of Sri Krishna, Introductory Chapter 2 of Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Volume 1, written under the supervision of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakura by one of his leading disciples. The empiric historian, with his geographical and chronological apparatus of observation, can have really no proper idea of Grostek anomaly that he unconsciously perpetrates by his pedantic effort to gauge the absolute by the standards applied to her victim by his deluding energy in the form of mundane categories that can only limit and define them, whereas the function to be performed is to get rid of the necessity to do either. The empiric consciousness is not in the absolute consciousness at all. It can only bungle and commit a deliberate blunder by attempting to limit and define the immeasurable under the pleas of a necessity that need not be supposed to exist at all. By the empiric attitude, one is led to launch out on the quest of the absolute truth with the resources of admittedly utter ignorance. This foolhardiness must be made to cease. The method of submissive inquiry enjoined by the scriptures should be substituted after being properly learned by those who have themselves attained to the right knowledge of the same by the right method of submission. Oh God.
Pada.
30 September 2004. There have been not a few devotees who have desired to become well-known musicians and thus promote Krishna consciousness, but I am not aware of any who have succeeded. It's not so easy to succeed in the music world. It is another matter for already famous musicians who subsequently take to Krishna consciousness and use their popularity for preaching. Anyway, I wish you all the best on your meandering path to Krishna, and have added you as a receiver to two interesting texts I recently received about music.
Wow, I would like to read them. Hmm.
26th October 2004. After considering your situation, I wish to tell you that Srila Prabhupada also faced a similar situation in his life. He was married and had many responsibilities. His family also did not cooperate with him in devotional activities. Nevertheless, he did not leave his responsibilities. He continued supporting his family with all difficulties. It is not good of a follower of Srila Prabhupada to leave his family like this and take sannyasa. This would go against the example set by Srila Prabhupada. If your family is unwilling to come to India and settle down, it would be in your best interest to go back to them and continue your devotional service from there. As far as taking sannyasa is concerned, at present you are not fit for taking it. Taking sannyasa is not so easy as you're thinking. First, try and become a responsible householder. Then you can become a responsible sannyasi.
Jai.
Yeah. 11th November 2004. I am sorry to hear of your injury, and I am glad to know that it is not serious and that all your other news is favorable. Several devotees have told me of having visions and other esoteric experiences. Interestingly, all such devotees are women. I wonder if it is connected with sentiment rather than pure realization. Anyway, visions or no visions, everyone has to follow the process of Krishna consciousness as given by our acharyas. Hearing about Krishna from bona fide sources is more reliable than visions. It is nice if you have visions, but then so many sahajiyas do also. So the real test is if we continue unflinchingly with our service and give up all material desires. Visions are not the substance of spiritual life, service is. So whatever visions come, just continue with service.
Great.
Whether or not such visions are substantial is also to be considered from the standpoint of Shastra. As there is no authorized description of Lord Jesus in Vrajalila, such
Prabhupada.
visions are unlikely to be from the platform of substantive reality and are thus probably from an illusory source. Govardhan Shila may be worshipped on Govardhan Puja day by the Govardhan Puja day by the standard procedures. These should be known to senior devotees, and there is nothing extra for me to instruct in this regard.
The point is, actually, these visions, to see whatever visions come, these all points apply even to dreams. Many devotees ask about dreams. Oh, dreams are coming, Prabhu. I'm getting dreams of that. I'm getting this. I'm getting this realization, that realization, they say. So the same, these all points can be applied to that one also.
Hmm.
Okay.
19th November 2004. I understand that Prabhu is heavy, but that heaviness is for the benefit of others. For instance, to pressurize devotees weak in surrender to do so. He is considerably more advanced than yourself and can help you advance in Krishna consciousness if you agree to be helped. I suggest that you say no to your mind, resolve to wholeheartedly try to cooperate with Prabhu and strive to develop an enthusiastic service attitude. You have to consider what you want. If you really want to become a pure devotee, then you need to be under strong guidance and you have to surrender. Prabhu can help you, and he needs help also. Please try to help him in the difficult services he has taken on. Soon the Bhakti Shastri course will begin. That will be very valuable for you. Please remain patient, stay wherever you are, and take
Stay
advantage
where
of
you are. Stay
where
where
you
you
are.
are.
Sorry, Prabhu. Stay where you are and take advantage of that course. In the meantime, please be sure to read Srila Prabhupada's books carefully for at least an hour each day.
Okay.
Please be well. Please be happy. Please always try to dip daily afresh into the ocean of transcendental chanting of the holy name of the Lord and the beautiful worship and other sadhana Srila Prabhupada has left us.
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Thank you very much for Hare Krishna.
Try to be slow in your reading. Try to be clear, and don't get tensed unnecessarily.
Sure,
So
Prabhu.
prepare yourself nicely. Nicely drink hot water so that you can you can prepare
Sure.
yourself. Okay.
Okay.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Nobody is there. Another 3 minutes. I can read for some time. 29 November 2004. Guru Maharaj, here in D, we have a Bhagavatam speaker from Vrindavan. His name is, from what I have learned from others, He hails from the Nimbarka Sampradaya. He is conducting a Bhagavata Saptah at the Srinathji Mandir. 80% of our ISKCON regular satsangis are attending his lectures, and everybody is saying that he speaks very nicely and sings very nicely too. He's very famous around the world and lectures on many TV channels also. Guru Maharaj, I want to know your opinion on this. Should we go and listen to such Bhagavatam speakers of other sampradayas, or should we stick to Srila Prabhupada and listen to his lectures? Won't we be called as a fanatic if we do so? Please enlighten me. That he is praised for. Oh, Krishna. That he is praised for speaking and singing nicely suggests that the hearers want to be entertained rather than enlightened, which again suggests that they never actually heard Bhagavata Katha in their lives. Certainly not in the manner that Parikshit heard Sukadev. Does this nice speaker, in quotes, nice speaker, explain Bhagavatam in a manner to uproot misconceptions and anarthas? Does he discuss Bhagavatam topics relevant to the hearers, such as Griheshu Grihamedinam and Nayam Deho Deha Bhajam? Does he maintain a family by donations received from so called Bhagavata Katha? Is he himself free from anartha such as drinking tea and viewing TV? And if not, how can anyone be freed from such anarthas by hearing him? If these questions have not been considered before going to hear him, or if initiated devotees have not consulted their gurus before doing so, then it is to be understood they are materialistic, that they are materialistic devotees interested in sense gratification in the name of Krishna consciousness, that they consider Krishna as an object of their enjoyment rather than as the object of their surrender. Please bless me that I never become a popular speaker, or that my speaking or singing be considered nice. Please protect me from the association of persons who wish to hijack for their own sense gratification my feeble attempts to serve Krishna. May I ever be considered a fanatic and scorned by such persons. With such powerful quote, we will stop here. Such a powerful quote. We should always remember this quote. Would like to read once more. Please bless me that I never become a popular speaker, or that my speaking or singing be considered nice. Please protect me from the association of persons who wish to hijack for their own sense gratification my feeble attempts to serve Krishna. May I ever be considered a fanatic and scorned by such persons. So we'll continue to read from 3rd December 2004, page number 301. So Krishna willing, we will continue tomorrow. Until then, Hare Krishna. If at all anybody has it is very offensive to think you are a fanatic by great faith in Srila Prabhupada. Yes. Yes, let us be a fanatic for Srila Prabhupada. Yeah, if anybody wants to say something, of course they are already saying in this chat box, but if at all they want to ask or something, they can very well do so. Today some very powerful letters we have read, some powerful power packed instructions we have received by the mercy of Maharaj. So I hope devotees are getting enlivened and wants to distribute this book. So for that we have the link आपके सामने पेश किया जाता है. So the link is presented before you. Please try to order this book more and more. Try to get this book and distribute it to one and all. So if you want to order in bulk, that is also available. So please don't take advantage of this. This book very, very important. I've given the link. Please order this book for your distribution and reading. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Krishna willing, we will meet tomorrow and continue to read. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for conducting these sessions. Maharaj letters are so inspiring and so helpful. Lelina Mataji has written this quote. Thank you very much, Mataji, for writing and inspiring devotees. So whatever I could, thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Mancha kalpatarubhescha kripa sandibhevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Dante nidhaya trinakampati or nipatya kritva cha kakushatametat aham brahmiye sadhava sakalame vyaya duran chaitanya chandra charane kurtanura. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.